everybody, my name is Mars. You can call me MG if you would like, and today I have for you my June TBR. Kind of wild that it's already time for my June TBR, but here we are. I am very much looking forward to my coming reads. Not that I have very many planned, but I have a lot of ideas of what I'm potentially in the mood to read. I'm kind of in the mood for a lot of different things, so hopefully I get a nice variety on here. So let's just go ahead and figure out what I'll be reading in June. So the first step in picking out my TBR, as always, is with this little jar. I have my 25 in 2025 priority reads in here, so we will pull two of those out to read in June, but first we'll give it a little shake just to randomize it a little bit more, I guess. So our first one is this one, sure, and it says The Last Binding. Okay, so this is by Freya Marsky, and I've read the first book was A Marvelous Light last summer, so the second one is called A Restless Truth. Perhaps you'll see it on screen. Beautiful covers for this whole series. This is historical fantasy, and it's also queer. The first book was male-male romance. The second book is sapphic. Of course, all the cars are going by now that I'm filming. That's fine, we're just gonna ignore them. Not what I expected to pull out of the jar. I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, because I knew it was on my 25 in 2025, but yes, I will be reading the second book in this trilogy. I might have to find a summary of the first one online, because like I said, it has been almost a whole year since I read it, and while I remember some things, I don't remember a lot of details, so I will figure that out later. But we've got the jar for our second pull. Someone's yelling outside. But we'll go with this one. And it says, ooh, Shadow of the Fox. This is not this one here, that's Wicked Fox, which I confuse the titles all the time. It's on this shelf down here that you can barely see. It is by Julie Gagawa, and this is a book that I want to reread to see if I'm still interested enough to carry on with the series, because I read it years and years and years ago, never finished the trilogy out. We're gonna see if I still care enough to do so. So, cool. I'm glad that I get to prioritize that. So those are my two books that I'll be reading from my 25 in 2025. Next up, we have my book club picks. So for the Nostalgia Train book club, we will be reading The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I have a physical copy. I think I got this out of a Little Free Library. There are some like animal bite marks in this, but it's fine. It was free, so I'm not gonna complain. It does have deckled edges, which I will complain about because I hate deckled edges. But this is a classic. It is kind of like the start of the YA genre as we know it today, although the YA genre has undergone a huge change in the past 5 to 10 years or so, I would say, but this is really considered like the first YA book of its kind, and I'm very excited to read this because I never have before. I don't know what that was that just drove past, but it was very loud in a weird way. Yeah, a lot of people read this in school. I have not, so I'm going in completely blind. I know it's like, it takes place in a high school and it deals with like the tensions between different social groups, and that's about it. So I am really excited to pick this up. The other book club that I'm a part of is the Bujo Buddies book club, and as of my filming of this video, the book pick has not been done yet. I know the two contenders, one of them is a YA book about AI, and if that wins, I'm definitely not going to be reading it because I don't like AI and I don't want to read about it. And the other option is a book, nonfiction, about like brain chemicals and stuff like serotonin and dopamine and all that. And that one, if it wins, I might read it, but no guarantees. I'm not really a big nonfiction person, but the Bujo Buddies book club does pick nonfiction, I think once a quarter, so it might just be a skip month for me, and that's fine. Finally, we have my TBR game, which involves these cards. They are pre-shuffled. I shuffled it before I started filming, but I will split it just to show you I'm not cheating, not putting cards on top specifically to get to them. We'll go here, sure. And I will pull 5 of these, and they will give me prompts that I will then have to put books into, and that's what I'll be reading. I don't know why I feel the need to explain this. I'm pretty sure everyone understands how prompts and like cards work. It's fine. So we've got the Wild Oracle. Ooh, this is a special card because this is a completely homebrewed D&D class, because these cards are inspired by D&D, but this was made by the people who made this deck of cards, and it actually uses the deck of cards in the mechanics of the D&D class, which I think is super cool. So we've got that as our first card. Then we've got the Paladin, another class. I'm going to be having lots of options, I guess, because the class cards, since there are 2 of them in the deck, 2 of each, I should say, there are 2 prompt options that I get to choose between. Unless I've already pulled it before and used one of the options, then I have to use the other one. Again, I'm over-explaining this. We'll just carry on. We've got the 3 of Monstrosities, our penultimate card, the 4 of Monstrosities. Interesting how that happened, but okay. And finally, our last card for June is the 2 of Humanoids. Okay, a nice spread. More cards are going past. I'm going to go check my cheat sheet to see what prompts these cards fulfill and pick books to fit said prompts, and then I'll come back and tell you all about them. Okay, sorry for the shakiness as I'm just holding my phone with my hand to film this, but I need to pick a letter, and you will see why in just a moment. But first let's find out what this letter actually is. Ooh, okay, X. Not the easiest letter to work with, but I'll see what I can do. Okay, friends, I'm back. As you saw, I had to do a random letter generator, and that is because of the Wild Oracle. So the 2 prompt options for this are either a random number generator or a random letter generator, and I decided to go with a random letter generator for absolutely no reason other than that's the one I picked. And as you saw, I got the letter X, because why make it easy on me? But this did end up actually being easier than I thought it would be, and the book that I will be reading associated with the letter X is Zachary Ying and the Dragon Emperor by Shirin J. Zhao, whose name starts with an X. This is the only Shirin J. Zhao book that I have not read. I've read and adored both Iron Widow and Heavenly Tyrant. Zachary Ying is their middle grade book, and I think it's supposed to be the first book in a series, but we don't have the rest yet. I've heard that it's very Percy Jackson-esque in vibe, and as you can tell from my entire shelf of Rick Riordan books, I love me some Percy Jackson, so I'm very excited to be reading this and finally picking it up, because I have wanted to check it out for quite a while since I loved Shirin's other works. Then I pulled the Paladin, and my 2 options for this are either a book club pick or a book for a readathon/reading challenge. And obviously I'm going to go with a book club pick and put The Outsiders, because it's just an easy choice. It's already on the TBR, so why not add it in for another spot? You'll see that I do that again later, but this just seemed like the obvious choice to me. So that was easy. Then we have my monstrosities that I pulled, and the monstrosities as a category are different subgenres of horror. So the 3 of monstrosities is gothic horror, and I have picked Gallows Hill by Darcy Coates. I've read, if I can wait for this loud truck to go by, I've read, I think, 3 Darcy Coates books before and really enjoyed them. I've read Hunted, which is like a serial killer type thing. Dead of Winter, which also involves like a killer. And then I've read From Below, which is like underwater horror and deals with like haunted stuff. Gallows Hill is one of her haunted house stories, and I've heard that her haunted house ones are her best books, and I'm very excited to be getting to this. I got this, I think, out of a little free library, which I get a lot of books out of, if you can't tell. So I can't wait to check this out. And I put this for gothic horror because haunted houses are kind of a staple in the gothic horror genre, so I think that it fits. So many cars are going past. Very rude of them. The other Monstrosities card I pulled was the Four of Monstrosities, which is Cosmic Horror. And for this, I am going to go with some Junji Ito and put Uzumaki on here. I have read a lot of Junji Ito's like one-offs, like the compilation books that he has where each chapter is a different short story, like a one-shot manga. I've not yet read any of his bigger works, and I've heard really good things about Uzumaki, so I'm going to read it, and hopefully I'm going to love it. It does feel very cosmic horror in vibe to me, but I don't actually know if it fits the subgenre. We'll just have to find out and keep our fingers crossed that I'm correct on the vibes. But then the last card that I pulled was the Two of Humanoids, and the humanoids have to deal with age category of book. The Two of Humanoids specifically being a young adult book, and I will be reading Shadow of the Fox. Again, it was already on the TBR, so it just would make sense for me to put it on here and do a little bit of double dipping. So here we have the 3 physical books officially on my TBR for June, and then I have 3 digital books if we include The Last Binding, which didn't make it onto a card prompt, but I still will be reading it in June. So I think that's a pretty good split in terms of digital and physical. I do tend to do about 50-50, and I think I've also got a good split of genres here. I was hoping for variety, and I think we've achieved that. So I'm very excited for June. Let me know down in the comments what you are planning to read during the month. If you're excited, if you're a little bit apprehensive maybe, we can do a little bit of chatting about that. But for now, before these cars driving by drive me insane, we're going to end the video. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.